Yo guys, what's going on? Space Cowboy here. Welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to be recapping the Detroit Lions versus Dallas Cowboys game. Dallas wins 35-27 to move to 6-4 on the season. Now, as you know, this game, I figured Dallas would take care of business. Now, obviously, we didn't know how the game was going to go and all that other stuff, and we'll talk about that momentarily. If you haven't already, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the notification bell, make sure it's set to all so you get all my content when I go live, post new content, etc. And with that being said, let's go on with this review. So, Dallas had a explosive second quarter, scoring 21 points to not really fully pull away because the Lions were lingering, but they were able to do something in the first half. Obviously the first quarter it was just horrible. It was a 3 and out. Well, actually incorrect. It was a fumble by Zeke on his first carry of the game, which led to a touchdown, and then a 3 and out, and then eventually the Cowboys kind of got it going. Obviously, nothing's going to be perfect, but you can't afford to do that against the New Englands, the Saints, the Packers, like those types of teams. You can't afford to be doing that. But hey, Dallas was able to recover and do well. Looking at the stats sheet here, Dak Prescott led the way, 29 completions, 46 attempts, 444 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. This is the third straight game in which Dak Prescott has thrown 3 or more touchdowns, and he entered an interesting category in that he's the first Dallas Cowboys quarterback to reach 3,000 yards passing in 10 games. Not only that, he had the most yardage in terms of passing by a Cowboys quarterback in a 3-game stretch. Interesting facts nonetheless. He led the way, man. Dak Prescott did exactly what we had to do. We took advantage of the situations we were given in the passing game, and we went with it. Now, people will complain that Ezekiel Elliott, 16 attempts, 45 yards, 1 touchdown, and then he also has a receiving touchdown. People will complain and say, oh, I can't believe we gave Zeke all this money. Guys, you have to understand something, right? When the Cowboys were having a effective attack with their pass, that was the weakness of that game, and this is what good teams can do. They can adjust on the fly and do this week to week to have the ability to be like, okay, this week, Zeke's, hey, we see Zeke's doing his thing. We're going to keep giving him the ball. That's what happened in the New York Giants game. They were giving him the ball because, guess what? He was getting 5 yards a pop. Those are games where you can lean on Zeke. There's going to be games where Zeke is going to be keyed in on, and then you're going to have a situation where Dak Prescott is giving you that kind of wiggle room. Now, I'll go into further detail in a later video regarding the evolution of this Cowboys offense. Don't want to go on for too long here. Tony Pollard get 2 attempts on the day for 12 yards. Dak had also 6 rushing attempts for 18 yards. Moving over to the receiving portion, Michael Gallup led the way. He had 13 targets for 9 receptions, 148 yards, no touchdowns. And then you had Randall Cobb, 7 targets, 4 receptions, 115 yards, and a touchdown. Tony Pollard was targeted 4 times, caught all 4 of those passes, 44 yards, and a touchdown. So Tony Pollard, you're starting to see him get more involved in some instances. I really wish they would use him more. I hope that this was a wake-up call to be like, hey, listen, maybe you got to use this guy more often. Cooper, he didn't have the best game, but at the end of the day, I could see he was kind of hurt. And guess what? We didn't need him in this game. Now, we will need him for some of these other games, but I really do think that as long as we're taking advantage of what's going on, that's the most important part, is that the Cowboys are exploiting the weaknesses of other teams and winning, not trying to force them. Like, obviously, we know the strength of the Cowboys is their offensive line, and we know that if Zeke keeps going, he's a strength, but, I don't know if that's what it's going to take to go all the way, and again, I don't want to allude to this here because I'm going to save that for another video. On the defensive side of things, Cowboys did not really do, not that they didn't do good, but the fact is that You had the backup quarterback complete 15 out of 26 for 209 and 2 touchdowns. He had a rushing touchdown as well for 51 yards. Bo Scarborough, former Cowboys running back, was kind of gashing you early on. So they got to clean that up, man. Detroit's leading receiver was Danny Amendola. He had 4 receptions for 47 yards. But other than that, man, and then you had Marvin Jones get in the end zone twice. But other than that, Dallas did exactly what they needed to do. Okay. And then let's move over to the defensive side of things in terms of tackles, sacks, etc. Jalen Smith led the way with 9 tackles. In terms of sack numbers, you had Robert Quinn get a sack. You had Michael Bennett get 2 sacks. Okay. And no one else got an additional sack. There was no turnovers by the Cowboys in terms of taking the ball away. But what I will say is that Michael Bennett has made a fantastic addition on this defensive line. Sure, you're gonna have a game where Tank won't get to the quarterback, but the fact is you're getting other guys to go and get to the quarterback, and that's what's important. Special teams, they need to get that stuff straightened out, man. I don't know what the hell's going on, but every time that they can't tackle. The tackling's been atrocious, and I think that's something that the Cowboys have to work on going forward. Now, the Cowboys have won 3 out of their last 4 games after hitting the 3-3 mark, which after playing 6 games. And I'm gonna just be honest, man. This is not something we should be saying. This is something you have to expect. You're going to beat these kinds of teams. I'm not in a state of oh wow, Dallas is no, man. We have plenty of games to go. Yeah, sure, we have some wiggle room in the division, but at the same time, you got to realize, guys, is that this is a long road, man. For all we know, we go beat New England and then we lay an egg on Thanksgiving, or they lose to New England but then they go on this ridiculous winning streak. So the fact is, we got to take care of business. As long as we're taking a week-by-week approach and we're keep winning our games, things might fall into line, and I want to be emphatically clear that, yeah, sure, Dallas is 6-4. We can argue that they should be 8-1 or some other, or 9-1, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, man, there are teams out there that are only 2 wins better than the Cowboys. And if things go certain ways, we could be talking about how, well, really, it didn't really matter because Dallas this is the time where your teams start coming alive, okay? That's the point I'm trying to get at. I would have rather, start 3-3 and the Cowboys go on a run to finish 11-5 or hell, even 12-4. I doubt that they will run the table. But the point I'm trying to get at is that I would rather we start off slow and pick it up later on in the season. Listen, New England's known for doing that. Dallas, sure, they started off hot, they cooled off, and then they kind of are getting back in rhythm. But again, take this, take every game in stride. Just do it one game at a time. We have 6 more games left in this season, man, and man, that sucks. And then there's postseason play. And before we can get to the postseason, we need to get our ticket there. And so far, the Cowboys are on pace to win the division, but just because I say that doesn't mean they did. The division has not been locked up. There's still plenty of room to go. I think that we have to look forward to New England at this point. This is a tough game. If we can win this game, and if things go our way, maybe it's going to be an inevitable point. But I do not expect that. I fully expect that it's going to be a tough outing, and I think that Dallas is going to go down to the wire. And so I would expect that. But who knows? Crazier things have happened. I want to hear what you guys have to say down below in the comments section. How did you feel about the win? Did you think that the Cowboys did well? Do you think they could do better in certain aspects? Please leave that down below. Make sure to leave this video with a like, subscribe if you're new. Also hit the notification bell and make sure to ensure that all notifications are set to all. And I'll be seeing you guys later. Peace out, guys. Bye-bye.
Used to live in Sin Cities like Bruce Willis, but I'm Jackie Chan, karate chopping, I'm still kicking. I used to be chopped and screwed, I'm little flipping. Now I'm nice, Mike Jordan, so who's pimping? I'm running man, you the running man, you still slipping. I hit records, you swinging, it's still